privilege of knowing something of this incredible woman. I had never heard of her before, and I felt so bad when I watched the trailers and the reviews. Read the reviews, I just didn't know about her, and I just thought, wow, to meet someone who really puts their money where their heart is. You know, that's, I mean, we struggle with just tithing in church. I mean, she put it out there. So anyway, I just want to say thank you, and I don't know if you all want to say anything first about the film, especially you, Chelsea, you directed it, what that must have been like, and just talk to us about it, a little bit about it.
Well, let me just first, I want to thank you for choosing it, right? And that, you mentioned that I'm a writer, and that it's like when you're writing, you're really just typing on a keyboard into a blank screen, and you don't know how it's going to land in the world, right? So we spent 2 years putting this film together, and so this is the first time that this is the first public screening, and so it's very meaningful that it would speak to you to choose it to be your film taste. So I just wanted to say that, and I wanted to thank all of you for being here, and that just in so many different ways. This is Susan was very much in the community. She liked to have this small town vibe about her. They had a thing in the neighborhood. We live in a neighborhood called Potrero Hill in San Francisco, and they had Potrero Hill History Night, so she would love to go to that and to be in community and be with people. And so she would just be delighted that this is the kind of gathering we have actually first show. So I wanted to say that, and then for me personally as well, I am a writer. One of my big influences in my life was my uncle, who was a journalist. So he was one of the first black journalists, Renzi Acosta, one of the first black journalists to cover the White House in the 1950s. And he actually left because it was too racist. Working for the Washington Evening Star, he started his own paper, Niagara Falls Patriots. He was a black journalist who ran a black paper in this tradition of economics origin. So it's the additional depth. Meaning for me, yes, to be here as well. So I just wanted to say all of that, and that just to really appreciate all of you for being here. This is actually the first time I've watched people watch the film. Right. So that's it just really, I literally came across the country, I live in San Francisco, to be here, to be with you, to see. And then, Frank, this is the first time being more of a community setting. We've done a number of private screenings, so I'm trying to get in front of some of the people who are in similar situations, who are in wealthy families, may have progressive sentiments, but might not have the confidence and the courage. We have Susan examples of role model, but just to be in a community setting, this is really the first time we've done that. So I just want to thank all of you, frankly, for that. And then we should hear from Chelsea. So one of the stars really aligned for us we were trying to think about doing a film in the summer of 2023. Susan passed in December 2022. And eventually I do a podcast, and I was preparing for one of my friends, Heather Booth, is a longtime social justice activist. She got her started in Mississippi, then Hamer. And so there's a documentary on Heather, called Heather Booth Changing the World. And I was reading after watching my podcast, I was like, I think there'd be a documentary on Susan. Right? So I was like, got the wheels turning. And so then, you saw Deepak Bhargava in the film, was at the Freedom Together Foundation now with JPB. His partner, Harry Hambury, is a documentary filmmaker. And so we were all very close. I told Harry, this is a very small circle of people who are documentary filmmakers who have been snorkeling with Susan. So Harry was very helpful to help us scour and find directors. So Chelsea was just coming off of a prior project. She'd done Breaking News, which had been on PBS, and was available. And so we were able to connect and be able to scoop her up, which was right before we did the Celebration of Life for Susan. So she was able to come out to that and see and be part of that. So why don't you talk about why you came on and what was, you want to share about me?
Yeah, and thank you, yes, for being here. This was do want to point out Tram Wynn, who is here as well. And Julie Martinez, also, who is here. Their first time seeing it as well.
It's great.
Just a beautiful experience we're all having together. Yeah, like you, I didn't know who Susan was either. I went to Steve's house and he said, here are all her papers, and it was like several filing cabinets that were like taller than me, and just kind of started digging through them and learning more about Steve and Susan's work, and was just blown away that by like the humbleness of her. I was like, well, do we have footage? Like, I wasn't sure if a movie could be made, because you always need to have like footage or photos of that individual to share their story and connect with them. And it was really hard to find photos because she was always behind people, and she was always about putting people in front of her and uplifting them. And I just was really compelled by that, and wanted to figure out how we can make this story about her without seeing her image as much. But I went to her celebration of life, and just an incredible community surrounded her and Steve, and it was, we ended up talking, I interviewed like 40 people, and did all this research to find out what others, thought about her. And something I really gravitated to was everybody always said she trusted me. And that means the world.
Yes.
Right? So for someone to trust you and not get in your business of your work, let you do the work and trust that you'll do it and support you was just tremendous. And so I'm just incredibly honored to be able to work with Steve and Stacey Abrams and meet just an incredible community and uplift this story. So thank you.
It's an amazing story.
As Wilder said, it's an amazing story, and I think you did a remarkable job in the way you shaped the film around her impact. That really, striking in that film. Someone of Susan's stature, who we are able to know something about her as a result of these people whose lives that she changed and impacted, right? And I wanted to ask you, what do you think gave her such moral clarity?
Well, she always had it, and so that's probably, so I'm literally traveling the world to try to get this in front of the right different people. So I was just in London for the first time, I've been to England before, but there was a grouping of philanthropists and these different families and these younger people and these families. And I asked people this a lot, just like, how did you come to this? And I've kind of come to that people, let's see, how do they know, but they don't really know. And so there's something in, like Susan was always very compelled by inequality and injustice her whole life. And so really seeing economic inequality, actually, I didn't mean to plug our podcast, but I do this podcast from Arts in Color with Steve Stokes. Our episodes came out today with a person who comes from Ecuador. It's about the immigration rights movement. And so one of the things I said at the beginning of that is that rather than go to her college graduation, Susan went to Ecuador. She went to Ecuador to help build latrines and to actually work with the families there. And so she was always very compelled I think it's almost like some people were like drawn to music, gardening, whatever. Inequality was very, very deep for her from when she was a child. So I think that there was that all along. A little bit of story about this kind of
Yes, her family, there was a tree that was dying and they needed to cut it down. I don't think it was fully dead, so they were going to put some poison down. And Susan came and like hid the poison, and they couldn't find it. And she just didn't want them to cut down that tree, and she was like
Elementary
6
school,
years
yeah.
old or something, you know?
We had moral clarity.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I like in the film when she said early on that when she realized that her family were so wealthy, that she says, well, something must be wrong with others. If we're like, so it was in her. Because she was the tree, you know, at 6 years old, recognizing inequality or, you know, just keeping things alive.
Right.
So that's what I think, is trying to find other people who have it in them, and they're in these families, but they may not be as confident. You know, just Susan's a role model.
Yeah. Ashe.
Yeah, Ashe, yeah.
No, but also what got me a lot is wealth, money. If you don't share it, really doesn't have any meaning. For this woman, like, it had no meaning unless she shared her wealth. I think it's amazing because we see the other way around
Right.
oftentimes, like, to be afraid that somebody's going to take it away. But she was incredible. I was very happy. I'm very happy to be here to have met her. Somebody has. Yeah, have you heard of Susan Sandler? Never. But it was very nice. Thank you.
We know her now, that's for sure.
I'm just curious, when she was young, did she travel a lot to different countries, or I'm just very interested in her, in what allowed her, a lot of people from privilege, they're afraid to go interact with people who don't have privilege or whatever. So there's something that she must have experienced, I think. Maybe it was exposure to other cultures, or maybe she traveled as a young, I don't know, I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's funny, because I think well, it's not funny, it's a great word, but it's just it's a very odd thing to take, like, all of your papers, all of your, you know, films, anything you have about your life, give it to somebody and say, what do you make of this? Right? So, I don't know if you have a thought, I have a couple thoughts about what you have thought of the stuff that you were looking at.
Yeah, we didn't get to include it. There is so much that you have to put in an hour. But we had interviewed one of her elementary school friends, and her name was Lauren Farr, and she, you know, was not a wealthy person. She grew up with a single mom, and Susan loved spending time at their humble home, and her mom went to a lot of protests, and she would go to those protests with her. So there was something there. I don't know if that was it, but they had a really tight bond. Yes, definitely influence. But I will also say too, with her family, they would have political discussions at the table. Like her parents treated Jim and Susan as adults and wanted to hear them talk, but also had them around all these intellectual scientists, the guests who came over, having these great discussions. So they were hearing all of that as well.
And so she really gravitated toward trying to help to cross those past boundaries and really try to help. And so one of the people that she knew started a magazine called Core Magazine. And so she invested in that magazine and helped them get going. And that one of the early groups that she was part of was the supporters group of Mujeres Unidas, which was low-income Latina workers within San Francisco, Bay Area. And so she was very supportive of that group. So she really gravitated towards, and it was not at all, distance, and wanted to be more connected to what she could do, try to be helpful. So,
And Margot had a huge influence on her, and she, admits that as well. Right, that her professor at San Francisco State. Yeah, and that was, I think, when it clicked that the system was racist, and how can we, we'll go into education and
one of the things we don't talk about a lot is, how people let go of their privilege, you know, I mean, this woman was obviously very privileged, her wealth, you know, her access to everything, and what she let go of in terms of privilege was her access to being able to lead if she wanted to. This is extraordinary.
That's extraordinary.
This is
Yes.
extraordinary, especially in the history of the way that, you know, whites have participated in our community.
Mm-hmm.
That she felt comfortable enough to say, I'm not going to lead. My money could drive me or put me in a position to lead, but I'm not gonna do that. And so, to me, the connection of that trust that she put in the process, when she had every reason to think that, you know, I don't have to do this, but she did it. And to me, that is singularly something distinctive about her as a white woman, but also from a Jewish woman. And I'm wondering how much of her culture, you know, the Jewish culture has an incredible range of philosophical, fundamental, important themes in it that are about justice, you know. And so I'm wondering how much of that her Jewish culture went to play with that.
Yeah, she very much gravitated towards the social justice tradition of the Jewish community. There was a social justice synagogue, and during the height of the pandemic, she was, everybody was impressed. We were very much locked down, but they had virtual meetings there was a social justice committee of her synagogue, and so she would log on Zoom and participate on that. And that we showed briefly that when we got married, we very much wanted to combine these pieces, right? And so we had the Swahili phrase, to speak the truth, Kusema Ukweli. And then we had Tikkun Olam, which is Hebrew for to heal the world. And so we had those two circles intersecting on our wedding anniversary.
I think one thing that you said, that it was in her. It was in her. You know what I mean? It's like the seeds, whatever seeds that came, fell on her fertile ground. You know, and just blossomed. So I think no matter, she might be one of those people, no matter where she was born in life, she was born to do this. You know, she really was. And you can tell it in her, you can tell it in you. You know, as a reflection of her, you can tell. I'm seeing her kind of, you know, how you feel about what she's done and that reflection. But I so felt that when you said it's in her. You know?
Well, I wish we were taping this because you can take this back. You know?
I think so.
This was recorded public show or whatever, but I know you had someone in here.
Some over here.
I was moved by her passion, and there was a part in the film where early she started a group and she said she regrets not putting a person of color. I think maybe that was at that moment that she realized it wasn't enough. You have philanthropists to give money away, but to be effective. Okay, it was a passion not just to do something, but to strategize so that she could be most effective in what she did. And that's something that's going to stay with me as far as who she was as an activist. That getting into where she could be the most effective with the money that she had. And I'm very impressed with that and her as an individual. Thank you for sharing.
Where can it be viewed again, the movie, so I can share it with the people that I know? Where can it be seen?
There's a whole thing in the whole documentary world and whatnot around how things get distributed. So a first step is a film festival. And so then now, frankly, we're going to take this reality to the distributors, so we're talking to different distribution options and different platforms. So we're in the process of trying that.
Oh, before you mentioned PBS.
Oh, Chelsea has done PBS.
Oh, okay.
Her
Great previous film.
So what I wanted to say is that in the time and space that we're in as an organizer.
I'm sorry, just on the, in terms of there's a trailer for the film that's available online. So we have a website, Susan Sandler Film.
Susan Sandler?
Susan Sandler Film. And so there's the trailer for it and then some of the materials.
Thank you.
I think that what I take from this is that she was forward thinking and understanding the need to center black and brown voices, but also what real allyship look, even when you sit in positions of power. That is key in terms of, that's so forward thinking for now.
Right.
And where we sit in these spaces now in terms of all the issues that we're dealing with around climate, around food justice, around immigration. I think that being able to see that at that time is pretty forward thinking. I think that there's a lot of lessons now for the philanthropic community to glean from this film.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what Tram talks about in the film.
Is there a question?
I just had a comment more than a question, but your point of that, the turning point for me in the film was when she recognized that she wasn't supposed to be the leader and to put other people who had, power down. But I was so impressed with she admitted that. And somebody with that kind of wealth and ability to do all of this stuff, to stand up and say, I wasn't the best one there, and that was the lesson learned from Stephanie. And I thought that was really, how many of us can stand up and say,
That's authenticity.
yes,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And not only that she wasn't the best one there, but that she actually wanted to empower
Yes.
black and brown people to drive their own.
Bus. Well, she knew it would
Right.
change. It would change the country, right? It would strengthen
It would change the
democracy,
country, yeah.
you know, that's what
Right.
she was trying to do,
How will the foundation function in this period where democracy is under attack?
Well, this is why I'm literally traveling the world to find more people who are in these philanthropic families to encourage them to vote. So this is the so I've had to grapple with this movie in general, but also this much larger question around legacy,
Yeah.
impact, right? And so I found the situation, did an amazing job of capturing it in the film. There was actually one of the things that further edits is that
Right,
Susan's
right.
mother
Extended version.
was the second female CEO of a Fortune 500 company in the country.
First woman on Wall Street, too, right?
She was the first female analyst on Wall Street, and she said,
Big
"Oh,
analyst.
I can do that." And so then she went, and so they built this company, before 2 grand savings and loan into a company that they sold for $25 billion, second largest savings loan in the country. So that company created this wealth, that they created this foundation. And then as we captured, there's 4 people, so we did 2 parents and the 2 children. The company's been gone, it's gone, it's been sold. The foundation is spending down all of its assets, so it's no longer going to exist like the 9 years. And 3 of the 4 people are no longer there. So what is legacy in this context? And so when we first got the cancer diagnosis, Susan and I looked at what we've been doing. Philanthropically, we did this document, I think I told you about the bachelor feedback hearing. People are more important than strategy plans. Our roles are making talented people. So in my own life in this arc, I've gone from this situation where Susan's parents were really at the center of a lot of philanthropy and social change in this country. So the company is gone, the foundation's winding down, so the 4 people are gone. But one of the people that we had back is Deepak Bhagwan. And Deepak is now at the center of philanthropy in this country. He heads a multi-billion-dollar foundation in this country. And so this concept around people, so that's why I'm trying to find other people who can ultimately move into these types of positions.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna have to, we don't want to.
No.
We don't want to. This has been an extraordinary.
Yes.
Can we all say our thanks?